All right, so this is the beginning of the Misty homecoming video, and I'm going to do my best to try to lay out in this video, which will be a little bit lengthy, the things that I would be telling you if we had the benefit of doing a session in your house when she came home. So of course we'll follow up. I'll come out there later when the COVID concerns have passed. But for now, I'm just going to try to dump as much as I can into this video. So we're starting in here. This is the only time we're actually going to be in the training room because I wanted the benefit of showing you the door. So if Deb pans down to Misty directly and gets a close-up, you can see that she is practically laying her head against the door. She just came out of a crate from nap time. So she's ready to go and ready to party. So she's all about this door. If I start opening it, you see the bolt. Now, I've got her on the long line, so there's no risk here. But I want you to start developing a protocol. Every time one of you walks to a door, if you know that a door is going to open, or if you think a door is going to open from the other side, somebody might be coming in. But certainly everything that is within your control. Anytime you know a door is going to open, we are going, forget about the word wait. I threw the word wait out because she already knew stay. She wasn't great at it. She wasn't that interested in complying, but she's much better now. So forget about the word wait. It is always stay. All right. So notice I back her up and I say, Misty, stay. Before I give her a command, I tend to say her name, Misty, comma, whatever it is. So I backed her up a little bit and I said, stay. Now she right now is not wearing the remote collar. So if she starts to move, I'm going to just leash check her with this. Now notice I'm not tight. If I tighten this up, that triggers pull and run. So I want this thing to be loose. I want to communicate with her intellectually, not physically. Misty, stay. No problem. Back up. Stay. Get a little more serious with her. Misty. Stay. Give her a little leash check. Stay. Now the reason I'm showing you all of this, hey, stay. The reason I'm showing you all of this and working with her when she was excited to be out of the crate is because I wanted you to see that you have to earn it. Don't expect that she is going to be like a robot. You say a word and she complies. She certainly is not. So I have to have this conversation with her. So you see now how she's looking at me. I backed her up. She didn't really listen. I backed her up again. She listened a little more, but not great. And then finally I gave her a pop pop. And then now I've got her attention. So the door is open. This has to become a ritual with you. Okay? Now, I'm going to give her the word I always use. Break. And out we go. We're going to pause it here and we'll be back in a minute. Hey, so we're back outside and I wanted to take you through all the phases that you're going to see on my written notes to you. So as we discussed on the phone and as you'll see when you read those notes, what I decided after a couple of days was that the standard obedience framework that we do for most dogs wasn't really that useful for Misty because she doesn't have imbalance. She doesn't have dysfunction. What she has is strong natural drive. Her prey drive is very strong. She does not have impulse control issues, for example. So as we discussed, I decided to focus what we're doing in order to marry up with her natural drives and tendencies to meet her where she is, keep it simple, and create a plan that's going to help you guys work with her. Very strong prey drive, very strong pack drive, especially focusing on the pack drive, to work with her for who she is, which I think is unique from most dogs, and build a relationship with her that over time develops more and more compliance and more mental connection with her, so that you can enjoy some of the things that relate to her prey drive. She can enjoy them, but you can always bring her back. So I am going to have a few fundamental things that I want you to work on. You are going to notice that I emphasize either recall, which is come when called, come, Misty, come. That will normally be when she's off leash or when she's out on a walk with you on the long line and you drop it and let her drag it. For the foreseeable future, you will always have her dragging the long line. I don't want, unless you're in a fenced area, I don't want you to just let her go free. So if she's out on the beach with you or out someplace in a large area that is unfenced, dragging the long line till further notice. So anyway, what you're going to see me focus on is recall, which is come when called. I also use a version of it, which is here. I use that when she's on a lead, whether or not it's the long line or the regular 6-foot leash. Here means come on back into my space. It is not as formal as the heel command. I don't think formality is really her best approach. It's not her jam. So what I do is a here command, which is a form of recall, and what it says is come on back to me. Sometimes I am stationary. I will say here and then stay. Get over here and stay here near me. Other times I will be moving. We're walking along and I will say here, but I keep moving and I just want her to move along with me. And if she roams away, I'll say here again, meaning I want you to stay right over here with me. And then I'll release her. I always release her with the word break. Break means you are free to do as you please. So you're going to hear a lot of emphasis on those two forms of recall, come and here. Very, very important. They're the things I would stress the most with you that you practice. And I'm going to show you how to practice them with a long line and also practice them with a regular leash because I want you to be able to do both. I'm going to tell you to practice daily. Some of your daily practice is going to be long line and other parts of your daily practice will be regular leash. We'll get to that. So now I'm going to have Deb pause and then we're going to saddle up with an up-close shot so you can see me putting the remote collar on her, okay? Hey, so we're going to start doing examples with long line work. Whenever she is on the long line, we use the remote collar. You can expect that the remote collar is a lifelong tool. This is not something that we're hoping to one day wean her off of. The remote collar is how any human, elevates their game to become as relevant as her very strong drives are. Because otherwise it is hard for us as humans to compete with her natural instinct because it is so strong. So just think of this as a permanent tool. That does not mean you will always have to have it on. In fact, I'm going to show you if you don't feel like carrying this, if you're going downtown to Beaufort or someplace and you want to just be able to walk her on a leash, we have another easier tool for that, a different kind of collar. I'll get to that later. But anytime she is on the long line or anytime that she may be, you may be dropping the line and letting her do a little bit of off leash, always, always, always. Okay, so I made you a video about this, but just really quickly, I'm going to take you through it. The on-off button, I hold it down until it comes on. Blink, it's on. Little red dot on the collar, little red dot on the handheld. Make them kiss, and a green light, it's on. Okay, now, putting this on the baby's neck. I always do it with the light facing upward so that I can see it. Because when you see it flashing, when you give her a signal, like here, I'll do a signal, it turns red, as I showed you. So I know it's giving her a signal, so I can see it. If the battery starts to die on me, I won't see that light, and I'll know the battery's dying, which may be a reason she is ignoring me. Okay, so light up. Now, this is the part that I was telling you, you have to find your way. We want the collar, we want the box to be off to the side like that. We also need for it to be tight enough that it doesn't slide down if she starts jogging or if she shakes her head, and it will slide because she's got nice silky hair. So what we want to do is be able to put 2 fingers under here, under the collar, the regular collar part. I'm still not convinced that it's tight enough to stay up if she starts to jog, but it's pretty tight. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten it. Now, I am keeping an eye on this box the whole time I'm with her, and if I see it start to slide down around her neck, I am going to... there's a good shot. If it starts to slide down to the front of her neck, we know it's too loose. Now, what I have seen on occasion, hey Misty, can you pick your head up?
Misty, good girl.
What I have seen on occasion is that it slides all the way around to her other side, and sometimes it stays there more easily. So I'm going to put it on what would be her left side and see if it holds. But you might see me in the middle of this conversation reaching down and tightening it. So you never know. Just experiment. The big thing is that you be aware of it. If it is moving, then it is not tight enough. If it's not tight enough, she doesn't get a solid signal. So if you're not sure sometime, you just tap the collar, like she and I were on a walk on the long line this morning, and I had it set on 11. And I thought, I wonder if she can feel it. So I didn't give her a command, I just tapped it, and she did not notice a thing. So I went over and checked it, and the collar was too loose. Now, she has been, as time's gone by, getting so acclimated to all of this.
Can I go ahead?
Hold on, let's pause it. Okay, we're back. Deb needed to change the shot. So she is becoming so accustomed to the situation, and she's also becoming more responsive to voice command. The combination of those two things means that I started to realize that she was ignoring me at a number 11 or 12 on this dial. So I turned her up to a 14 or 15. Sometimes I'm like, wow, she's just not, like when we saw a cat today, she saw the cat and she started to zero in on it. Oddly enough, the lower number worked. She's strolling along sometimes, taking in the beach, and she needs a higher number. You just have to play with it. I showed you on the video how to roll the dial, how to change the setting. So sometimes you just need to stop and be like, okay, let's change it. Let's turn it up or turn it down. She has never been higher than a 15 with me. Now that does mean that I can boost her to a 20. So when I say she's at a 15, that means if I boost her, she goes to 20. So it's a process, and different days have been different for her. Some days she's right on it, and other days she's ignoring it. That is totally normal. You just need to be ready to ebb and flow and change as necessary. That is one of the reasons why daily practice becomes so important, because you start to really read the situation. The practice is as much for you as it is for her, maybe even more so. So right now she's set on a 14, which means that if I boost her, she will go to a 19. I think we're good this direction. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, do you need to see both you and Misty?
We're going to see her now. We want to have Misty in the film with me.
Okay.
Is that good?
Can I pause it and...
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when we are doing long line, it's very much like the process that you already do. We let her roam out, and then we bring her back. The difference is now that, unless absolutely necessary, you're not giving her any leash signal. You're just giving her verbal with the remote cue. So remember now, I'm going to set your remote cue on constant, continuous, which means that as long as you hold this button down for a period of 10 seconds and then it shuts off, as long as you hold this button down, the black one that's next to the red, it's going to go tap, 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 tap. So the idea is that the minute you say the command, every time you say a command, you're not waiting for her to screw up. Every time you say a command, you're giving her the signal. And when she commits, you say yes, and you take it off. So it goes off, and if she's coming to you, you just encourage her. If she then decides to detour, you say it again, come, and you put it back on and repeat the process. You need to make sure that you require her to fulfill the command. If the command is come, she needs to come to you. Now, when she does, no capture. When she comes to you, the thing she loves the best is a big old hug and some love. When she comes to me, I'm like, yes, yes, good come, good come, good come. And then I release her with a break every time. So at some point, you're going to use the come, obviously, to hook her back up. But she's already on a long line with you, so it's not like you need to click a leash on. So every time when she's doing this long line stuff with you, when you tell her come, you're standing there, and when she gets to you, you love on her. She's way past treats at this point, so we don't use treats for anything. All right, so let me just show you what that looks like. I'll have Deb follow me a little bit, and we'll do a really short version of it. And Deb, you just move wherever you feel necessary to get it. Now, you see her laid-back temperament. A lot of that is because she has a full day every day. So this is her general demeanor since she's been here. She's happy and playful, but it's only if she sees something that she tends to get more excited. Okay, so here we go. I say the command, the signal will go on. When I say the word yes, I have taken the signal off. And I'm going to drop this because she's not moving away from me, so this way I can move away from her. And Deb, you just make sure you're close enough so that the shade doesn't turn into a problem. I want you to notice how she walks slightly behind me. That is a lovely development. Walking behind me is her way to affirm that I'm the leader. I have rarely had that experience with a dog because she's so organic. Okay, let's go. Good. Okay. Good girl. I have not given her a signal yet. Let's see if we can find something to catch her interest. Here we go. Misty, here? Yes, good girl, good girl. Misty, stay. Now, I didn't give her a signal. I may have given her a signal when I said stay, but because she was so focused on me, I didn't bother. If she came over here and was looking off this way, I would give her a signal when I said stay. You might just want to give her a signal every single time. Good girl, good girl. So she can move around me as long as she's with me. When I say stay to her, it doesn't mean she cannot move an inch. It just means she has to stick around. You can see how she enjoys it, right? Misty, break. Good girl. Good girl. All right, so that was the here and stay put. Now we're going to do a here moving. Misty, here? Yes, good girl. Good girl. Here. Good. I gave her a signal on that second one. Misty, here? Gave her a signal. Yes. She's getting a little too far. Here. Yes, good girl. Good girl. So you see, it doesn't have to be that she's far away. I can use this here command if she starts wandering out too far. I don't have to change direction. Misty, here? Yes. If she gets too far out, good girl. Good girl. Good, baby. Stay. Good, good girl. Good girl. Okay. So that's the here stationary, the here moving, and of course you can use the here whether she's in front of you, behind you, off to the side. She knows the here command like nobody's business, but every single time I want you to use this remote. Here. Stay. Misty, sit. Sit. On the second sit, I tapped the signal. She laid down. I don't care. This is something that she used to not want to do when we were out in the street, almost like it was a vulnerable position, which technically it is in the world of a dog. It is. So you can be doing everything I just did while holding the long line, or you can let it drag, whatever works for you. You can see that I'm having to let it drag because she's becoming so connected that now it's getting harder and harder for me to do things. Now, having said that, this morning, hold on, we're going to pause. Okay, sorry, a car was going by. This morning, she and I were walking on the long line, and a cat was coming down the street. She saw it, ears perked up. She was at a distance. So it was a two-step process for me. I said, leave it, and I gave her a tap. We will talk about leave it in a few minutes. I said, leave it, and gave her a tap, and she looked at me and then started walking, not staring at it. And then as we moved a little bit closer, I said, here, and brought her to me. So I started with, leave it, don't even think about that cat. And then come on over here to me. Because when she's in here, that is a much better circle of control and relationship. All right, baby, let's go. Break. Good girl, good girl. Good girl. No command, no signal. No command, no signal. I'm just showing you what some of the benefit is of this. That is not because I have been teaching her stop every time. It's because this, when used properly and practiced a lot, creates this kind of connection. Now, would she be stopping there if there was a dog running loose down there? No, she would not. She would be getting ready to go after a dog. That's her natural instinct. The question is, what do we do to take control of the situation? I'll show you what I do. Deb, follow my feet on this. We see a dog a little ways away. Bam. I'm going to step on that bad boy, and I'm going to give her a signal that's... and maybe she'll do this. Now, I'm going to step on that leash, give her a signal that says leave it. I'm going to pick that leash up, and then I'm going to say, here. Misty, here. Good girl. And we're going to go in a different direction, or I'm going to say here, and I'm going to shorten up the leash a little bit. So anytime, a little more long lead work, anytime that we're walking along happily and I see something up ahead that I think will be a challenge for her, I'll give her a quick leave it, but then I'm going to do my job and get up here and say here, and now I'm going to walk her at a normal leash length. If she sees something that's getting her excited, while we're walking at this length, I'm going to say here. Here. And if she's really fixated, I'll tap her. But you are using the here whether she's 15 feet or 2 feet from you. Short lead equals more control. So what we don't want to do is this. We see something coming. This is what we do not want to do. Oh my God. It's the oh shit rap. We don't want to do the oh shit rap because when we do that, you'll notice that she starts pacing a little bit more. This says alert. I don't want her to alert. I want her to relax. So I tell her leave it. I give her direction. I tell her leave it. And then I just gradually, as I'm moving up the line, I say here. And off we go. And I keep telling her here. Why do I keep telling her here? Because I want her to be fed information about what I want from her. I'm not expecting that I say a command once or twice and then she has to walk past some, frantic dachshund who's barking and seething to get at her. I have to keep feeding her the information. That's what helps her stay calm and stay connected to me. So it's not like, I told you leave it. Why didn't you? It's leave it. Now stay here with me. You're here with me. You're here with me. So you keep feeding her that calm information and keep moving. Okay? So that is the essence of long line, and we can talk more about it, but remember these key things. Every time you give her a command, you hold down the black button. If she seems to not be listening to you, you boost her with the red button. You hold it until she starts to respond, and when she does, you release it. You tell her how good she is, and you encourage her. If she breaks away, resume the signal, okay? If you're out and about, and she seems to not be paying attention, check your collar. Make sure that it's tight enough. If it's tight enough, then maybe you need to raise the level. For me, when I'm out in the world with a dog, if I think that I need to raise the level, I'll normally turn it up by 5, which may be one of your questions. You've got her at a 15, she seems to not be listening. I would turn it to a 20. and then your boost is a 25. Or if you want to dial it down, usually intervals of 3 to 5, something like that. Okay? All right, we're going to pause and we'll be back.
All right.
Hey guys, all right, so we've switched to the regular leash, your normal leash, and she is still wearing the remote. Our dog Charlotte is over here behind our fence. The only thing I want to do, I'm not looking for crazy excitement, but I want you to see what I do. So we are walking along, and I'm actually going to do this in reverse order. I'm going to start with excitement and then go back to calm. So here's the idea. I'm walking along with her. Leash is connected to her no-slip. We've got the remote. It's still set on 14. So I'm walking down the street and I see something coming that I know is going to create excitement for her. She may or may not even have sensed it or seen it yet. I am not waiting for her to do the wrong thing. I am starting with, so she doesn't even notice Charlotte over here yet. So as I start moving, Deb's going to back up so she can try to get all of us in the shot. And when you hear me say leave it, I am giving her a signal. Here's what I want you to know. I am telling her leave it before she even has a chance to get excited. I want to nip it in the bud as much as possible. So you will hear 2 commands out of my mouth, leave it and here. Every time I say a command, I'm giving her a signal. Okay, here we go. Let's go, baby. Leave it. I'm going to move toward her. Leave it. Here. Here. Good. So on that occasion, I was surprised and ambushed by Earl the Chihuahua. But you can see she wasn't interested, and as per usual, Earl got her going. So, leave it. Each time I say that, I'm giving her a signal. Leave it. Let's go. Here. Here. So you see, it's not squelching her reaction. I mean, what can you expect? She's got these 3 dogs barking at her. What I want you to see is that with a signal and a command, she comes back to me. Here. Here. Were you able to capture her looking up at me?
Let's
do it once more.
All right.
Deb, come in closer. Come in closer so that you can get her. You're focused on Misty. Charlotte! Charlotte! Let's go, right here. You ready? Leave it. Good girl. You see her look up at me? Good girl. Leave it. Here. Yes. Yes. Good. Here. Okay, come on this way. Good. Good. Misty, here. Good girl. Good girl. You can see Charlotte right here. Good girl. Misty, here. So you see how she's looking away and sort of looking up at me. One of the things I neglected to mention was that if she gets really jacked up and you don't have time to turn the dial up, like in that instance, if you hit the vibrate button, the black button that was by itself, that will snap her out of it. So you saw, I didn't start trying to struggle with her. I keep moving forward, I give her command, and if she's totally not listening, I vibrate her. Use vibrate judiciously because you don't want her to get so bored with it. Let's go one more pass. Here's Charlotte sitting over here. Her nemesis. Misty, here. Good girl. Here. Good girl. Here. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Right here. Okay, let's pause. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about the leash action with our dogs in a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and show you the second option for leash walking if you don't want to be worrying about signals and holding the remote and things like that, if you want to just be able to walk along, what you need is another way to give her a neck signal. Because first off, her best area of reception is the neck. Some dogs it's the flank, other parts, but most dogs, and including Misty, it is the neck. And that's what she's become accustomed to with the remote collar. So what we need is a collar that gives her some conversation around the neck. Now, this is called a prong collar. Some people call it a pinch. It is a small size. You can see, here's my thumb. You'll see it when you get it. It's lightweight. This one is called a Herm Springer make. It's a company, Herm Springer. It's the best on the market. I went ahead and got her one. It's lightweight. She doesn't need a big heavy one. They come in all different sizes. But the idea behind it is that when you are walking a dog with it, the value of this tool is that you do not let a dog pull, because the pull doesn't feel like anything to them. It's like any old collar. The key here is that if she starts to create tension on the leash, you want to create a little slack and then go pop, 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 pop. The pop, pop creates a little tink, 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 tink with these rounded teeth. They do not stab. They do not cut the skin. As you can see here, I'm going to pop this just for your own sense of comfort. You would not pop it this hard on Misty, or you should not pop it this hard, but so, and I don't know if you can see, but my skin has got a little dent in it, and that's it. I use these on dogs. Some dogs, I don't use them on. Some dogs I do. It depends on the dog. She responds really well to it. So this one is fitted for her. It might be a little loose. Here's the trick with these. When we put the collar on and off, you just kind of squeeze and pop out, and then squeeze and pop in. So when I put it on her neck, as you'll see me do in a second, I just bring it around like a necklace, squeeze and pop them in. Now, if it's a little too loose or a little too tight, we can add or take out links. Right now, I might have it just a little too loose, but we'll see.
Don't you remove it opposite of the...
You do not, what Deb has reminded me of, you do not want to take it out of these plates. Always go to the middle of the collar. I cannot explain why, other than to say that when you take prongs out near the plates, it's like the Bermuda Triangle. If something happens, it becomes harder to reassemble. So thank you, Deb. Always disconnect toward the middle. So we pinch it back together and we put it on. Now, let's say that my arm, this is her head, and it's on her neck. She is also wearing her regular collar, right? So what we're doing is I have a carabiner attached. This is where this swiveling part is where your leash is attached. But then we have a safety ring right here. We put a carabiner on it and we attach it to her regular collar. The reason we do that is because with these lighter weight collars,